Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. This video in particular is referring to the area of a triangle, and this particular video is kind of talking about how to derive it, or meaning where does the formula of an area of a triangle come from. In particular, I'm going to be referring to the area of a triangle using sine. For those who are curious, we know that the area of a triangle, just generally speaking, is equal to A equals half times B times H. Or you might write it as BH over 2, depending on who you are and what you do usually, or how you are taught. We're going to be using that idea, but we're going to be looking at a triangle and seeing what happens when you don't know some bits and pieces. So for example, you might not know the height of the triangle. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing, and you might be given an angle instead. So this is referring to Sadler exercise 1B for those who are doing year 11 math methods in the Western Australian curriculum. That's where you might find it useful. If you're someone else, that's cool. Still stay, still watch. So what we're going to do, I'm referring to this triangle that I've got here. So it's not exactly a nice triangle. It's not like an equivalent triangle. It's a bit off, but that's okay. And remember, the area of a triangle is used for any size triangle, whether it's obtuse or just a regular triangle. The area of a triangle formula works. I'm going to refer to a situation where we might not be given the height. We might be given an angle instead. So for example, you might be given the base and you might be given an angle, but you're not given a height. And that's where things get tricky, because you're kind of like, well, I can't do my formula. I don't have a height. What am I going to do? If you're given an angle, we can work it out using our favorite trigonometry. Trigonometry is so helpful. In this case, we've got a right angle. So let's have a look. So I've got a right angle. I've colored it green in kind of that section of D. So I've labeled it D. So I say angle D is a right angle triangle. That's important. Okay. So if I just zoom in for a second, let's just kind of take our focus on this triangle A, B, D. So that means I'm referring to this triangle here. Let's have a look. How could I write the height in terms of what we've got? So let's say I've got an angle here. I don't know what H is. How can I write what the height is in terms of theta or an A? Let's go back to SOHCAHTOA, or sine, cosine, and tangent. We can use one of those ratios to help us out to find out the value of H. Let's label our sides. So every time you're using trigonometry, I always label my sides. It's just super helpful, super easy, takes only a second. So based on my angle here, I've got an opposite. I've got a hypotenuse. This hypotenuse here, because it's opposite our right angle triangle. Our right angle, sorry. Probably that bit's a bit confusing. Okay, let's just try hypotenuse here. Our adjacent, we're actually not going to value for this, so that's not important, so we'll just ignore it. So straight away we're given an opposite and hypotenuse. Based on SOHCAHTOA, we're using opposite over hypotenuse. So I'm going to write that down real quick. So I'm going to write sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So let's fill in what we know. So we don't know theta. Theta's theta. It's just an angle. We'll just leave it there. What's our opposite in this case? In this case, we have an opposite of about H. So let's fill that in. So our opposite is equal to H divided by our A. So A is our hypotenuse there. It's divided by A. Remember what the main reason for doing this sine activity is. We wanted to write height, or our H, in terms of sine and theta and A. So the idea is I want to get H on its own. To rearrange this is because I'm dividing A at the moment. So this is being divided. I want to do the opposite and multiply it. So I'm going to multiply by A on both sides, and A, H over A times by A, that cancels out. So I'm going to end up getting A times sine theta is equal to H. So this is important. So let's kind of refer back to my original OG kind of area formula for a triangle. So it's half base height. So let's write that down. I'm going to use blue now because we're kind of getting towards the end of things. A is equal to half times base times height. I've actually got h in terms of a and sine theta. So I'm going to substitute this in. So a is equal to half times base. So you're assuming that in your triangle you're given a base, times by a times by sine theta. To kind of simplify and make it look nice, get rid of the multiplication signs, it's commonly written as half AB sine theta. The reason why these are switched is because usually we write them in alphabetical order. So in this case, it's just AB sine theta. And because they're next to each other, we assume that each part of it is multiplied. So for those who aren't sure about that, basically we can get rid of the multiplication signs and just assume that they're being multiplied. Sometimes you might see it written as AB sine theta over 2. That's the exact same thing. No big issues. It's just that instead you made the whole thing kind of divided by 2. That's all. So yeah, that's just a quick video just showing you where the formula comes from. The next few videos are just going to be referring to how to rearrange questions or how to apply the area formula to different triangles. So stay tuned. Thanks, guys.